We're back to part 2 of our viewer comments about East and West relationships. Now, I'm going to have some fun with this. I couldn't help myself, so forgive me. But I try to be genuine with you folks about who I am and what I'm talking about. I'm just a regular guy, right? So there's some comments that were actually directed back at me, and they're kind of based upon just doing a video about relationships. So I need to laugh at myself too and not take myself too seriously. So I'm going to share some with you that I thought were pretty funny. And I don't know, maybe I'll learn something by this feedback. Okay, a couple of funny ones I thought anyway, directed directly at me from the comments on those 2 Geomaya videos. Here it is, the first one. Is this guy Dr. Phil with hair? No, it's pretty funny. I mean, you have to appreciate that one. Someone's got a sense of humor. Another guy said, you talk way too much. I think he was referring to that I was interrupting their conversation. He wanted just to hear Geomaya, not my narration. But I get it the other way too, where people say you need to narrate it. So that's what I did. Okay, here's the next comment directed at me. My goal today is to hopefully get viewers for a channel that looks like it has no chance of surviving. Wow. Well, we're past 4,000 subscribers. We're only 6 months old, and so far it seems to be working. So hopefully he's wrong on that one. Okay, next comment directed at me. This is a funny one. Some of these guys got a sense of humor. I mean, right or wrong, it's pretty damn funny. Okay, here we go. Do we really care? Why make videos on the relationship? No one will ever know the real reason. But them, let it go. Oh, okay. But then let it go, vloggers. Damn you. All like CNN fake news. I thought that was pretty funny. And I agree with you. CNN has a lot of fake news. All right, next one. First of all, I don't understand why this video was made about these 2 individuals, Maya and Gia. Okay, you have to laugh at that one. They're saying, why are you making this video? They can't even pronounce Gio's name right or spell it right. They said Gia like it's a girl, not Gio. So I got a kick out of that one. A viewer replied back to them, and they said, it's good to learn from the mistakes of others if and when you can. Now, there's a subscriber here that made this comment. I'm keeping this all anonymous for now because I just think that's the right thing to do. But this one guy, and his handle goes by King Knights. And this guy gets it, that I made this video to help other people in their relationships so this problem wouldn't happen. And that's the reason for doing it, that if we can save one relationship, one marriage in the process, it was worth the time. So King Knights, Sir King Knights, thank you for your support. I appreciate that you get it, and you got my back. There were several things you defended me on, and that was the right intention, and you understood it, that I'm trying to help others. Okay? This next one's pretty funny. Boring. Another reaction video. Sigh. Already watched the original. Okay, guy, if you watch the original and you watch the sequel, and you're saying they're boring, you still watch both of them, so it can't be that bad. You watch both videos completely. All right, here's the next comment directed at me. Why do you care? Move on. It's not your life. Get one. Pretty funny. I mean, that was very well written, and maybe I should get a life, because what do? I'm making YouTube videos. Okay, next one. Oh, this was, last ones are positive. So I gave you the negative. I'm going to give you some positive. The comment is, nice video. Was afraid it would be clickbait. You know, I don't do clickbait. And this guy saw that I didn't. I give you the title and the thumbnail of what the topic is, and you decide whether you want to click. Right? I don't play games with that because I don't like that done to me. Certainly not going to do that to anybody else. Okay, moving on. Nice video. Was afraid it would be clickbait. Very mature coverage of an extremely sensitive subject. And then in capital letters, this is great, that everyone in capital letters has an opinion on. And it's true. Everyone's got an opinion on what they did right or wrong. And then another comment, the finest treatment for a very tender issue. Thank you for saying that. And then the final comment directed towards me, you said a lot of things, but you missed the very important thing. and that's that you need to put God first in your relationship and in your marriage. Hey, well said. I don't think I missed that. I thought it covered that, but I agree. All right, let's move on. These are going to be the general comments that people made as viewers after watching these two videos on relationships. So let's see what they have to say. These are the general comments that came out of the Gio and Maya series. We did a part 1 and 2 of why they split. And I'm going through them and giving you viewer feedback that have had some of these relationships, or they're giving their thoughts, one of the two. These are general comments about East and West relationships, not particular to just Gio and Maya, just kind of in general, things to expect or things to watch out for, or just their thoughts. Here's the first one. I would think very long and hard at the thought of ever getting married. Then, instead of a relationship, you have a legal binding contract. Basically, that says how much money you have and how much you have to give her if you split. Wow. I don't know if that's the way to go into a relationship. If you're worried about it, do a prenup agreement. But I don't think you're going into it for economic purposes. All right, here's the next comment. I think when you're in a relationship, it takes adjustment and being honest to one another before you settle down. I think marriage, it takes two to tango, as it's like a dance. Interesting comment. Here's the next one. There is a point when they need you, and there's a point when they don't need you. It is up to you to be smart and keep them in the right lanes. That's one way to talk about the relationship. I hope it's a little more reciprocal than that. Okay, next one. Before I go into the next one, I want to talk about one of the viewers in particular really laid out his thoughts and his story. He had been dating a Filipina for a year. And after this time, he was already feeling like he was beyond second fiddle in the relationship. He felt that the Filipina's kids came before him. He felt the Filipina's family came before him. He felt that the Filipina's job came before him, and he was probably there at number 4. And he's not even married to her. So not all relationships work. Doesn't matter if you're in the West or in the East. It's all kind of the same thing. It takes communication, and you have to talk about expectations, and you need to manage those things in order to be successful. And to this one viewer who was obviously in pain about this relationship, I think it's time to move on. Okay, because we're going to end today with an incredible statement from a man that's been married to a Filipina for 19 years. And it's a heartwarming comment. He gives us great detail about the relationship, and he feels in his own words that he's hit the jackpot finding the best Filipina for him, and he's so happy. But before we get there, let's go on with these comments about relationships between East and West. Here's the next one. Managing communication and expectations are important, but most women universally want loyalty, faithfulness, masculinity, meaning know who they are as a man, be a leader and a provider. Now, this list is coming from Maya from the second video in part 2. So this is what she says that she's looking for in a man. So this person that's commenting is using her list, okay? The next thing they say is, these are all qualities of partnerships. The Bible talks about being equally yoked, which means like if you believe in the Bible, let's say you're a Christian, you need to find another Christian, not someone from a different relationship, because it could be a problem. So the Bible does talk about that in Scripture. All right, going on with their comment. Once again, love is not about happiness. It's about having a commitment and respect towards each other. I agree with that. There are times in relationships, especially long-term relationships and marriages, where you go through difficult times. And it's not about your happiness. Sometimes that loyalty and commitment needs to carry you through no matter how you're feeling that day about the other person. So great comment. Very deep thoughts there. Here's the next one. I realized that most Western men and Filipino women relationships don't last. There are huge cultural differences between Westerners and Southeast Asia. I also realized African men and Filipino women relationships do last because Africa and Southeast Asia have lots in common. I've never heard this before, so that's a really fascinating comment. That's the first one I've heard someone coming directly from Africa that it works well for them. So that's awesome. Another comment. Birds of a feather should flock together. Asian men, from wherever they come from, with Asian women has a much better chance of success because of cultural affinity. Interesting thought. Next comment. Marriage involves working through difficult issues, not giving up at the first sign of problems. Marriage needs commitment and constant compromise, which determines the ultimate success in a marriage long after the fantasy dies. Some words to live by there. A lot of relationships are very exciting in the beginning, especially dating, and then through the engagement process and getting married. But after a couple of years, you settle into things, and people are imperfect, and it gets challenging. So I do think that there is something about understanding the commitment and working together. Okay, here's the next comment. Western men put their wife first, and Filipino women put family first, kids second, and friends third. And maybe her husband may be valued, but at a much lower part in the value chain. Now, I know several viewers have felt this way. I haven't really experienced it that way, but several viewers have mentioned these comments. I think it comes down to the person that you meet as the Filipina and where she's coming from. And I certainly would hope that the relationship is what gets focused upon. Okay, next comment. Men do communicate what they want in a relationship, but women just don't want to hear it because they want the complete opposite. Okay. All right, next one. Women complain that men shut down, in quotes, when in a relationship and discussions when they have an argument or a fight. It's not that we shut down. We just know it's a waste of breath and time because it's not what the woman wants to hear. I'm laughing. I'm going to hold my tongue on that. Okay, here we go. The next one. Filipinas don't care about a man's children and want him to abandon them. But the Filipina wants a man to give her child all his devotion and support financially. Well, hopefully you find a person that will do both. Okay, the next one is, the man desires a subservient partner and is nostalgic for a mythical 1950s relationship. The Filipina is mimicking some fictional version of a Western woman. Now, I think we need to kind of put this in context. There's a lot of people, a lot of Westerners that show up in the Philippines. When they arrive there, they find that the Filipinos are very traditional. A lot of them go to church. A lot of them are very family-oriented. They're not so much trying to get ahead in life. They're trying to put their family first, their relationship first. So there is a bit of this feeling of like the 1950s relationship before there was a lot of social change in the United States, and there was more traditional family values. This guy's point is that it was mythical. I don't know. I think there's somewhere in between the two. Okay, the next comment is, trust, respect, and love should be present in the relationship. When one is fire, the other should be water. Relationship is not a toy that you throw away, then get another one. I love that analogy. So when one's on fire, the other one becomes water and puts them out and protects them. Love it. Next comment. And this is the one we're going to end with. I have the best Panay one can have. Hardworking, treats me with care and love. Her family has never asked us for money. All three of her siblings have jobs. My mother lives in Europe, so I often visit her. Sometimes my wife comes with me, sometimes not. I am now retired and wife still works. We don't have kids together. I do have 2 daughters from a previous marriage, and my wife and my adult children get along very well, even with my ex, with whom we get along also all very well together. Like I said, I have the best relationship with my Pinay wife. Sometimes it feels like a dream. We've been married 19 years already and counting. By the way, my wife is not a typical Pinay. She has no tampo, so loving, and I do everything I can to make her happy. We hit the jackpot. See, there is a rainbow over the clouds. Some people do hit that magic relationship, and I'm so happy to hear it. Well, that will do it on viewers' comments on East and West relationships. Thanks for watching. And check out our other videos on this channel. You might find something interesting.